Hey guys, it's Mario from Manga Reviews, and today's review will be on Iroduku, The World in Colors. I do hope you enjoy it. Have you ever wondered how to take an interesting premise about time-traveling mages and beautiful art and somehow make it underwhelming? With Iroduku, you won't have to look much further. I just want to quickly add, if you disagree with anything I've said about Iroduku, or just want to share your opinion, would love to hear it in the comments below or on our Discord. Hitomi is a teenage girl and a descendant of a long line of mages, living in the year 2078. As a child, she lost her ability to see colours. This has left her in a depressive spiral and made her shut herself off from her friends. Her grandmother Kohaku decides the best way to help with Hitomi's depression is to immediately send Hitomi 6 years back in time. The first few episodes start off fairly strong. It seems like the plot kicks off relatively quickly as we're introduced to other cast members. The show does a good job setting up questions like, why would this help Hitomi? Why can't she see colours? Or why does she hate magic? It also feels like the show is going for a storybook feel, which matches very nicely with the colourful visuals. The plot is where the issues start becoming more obvious, unfortunately. After being teleported back in time, Hitomi finds herself in a random person's bedroom. After sneaking out from an unintentional home invasion, she starts looking to find her parents' magic shop, which has been run by mages of her family for generations. Hitomi quickly explains the situation and they agree to let her stay with them until Kohaku, who is currently a high school student, can figure out a way to send her back to the future. Since they don't know how long it will take Kohaku to figure out a solution, and since they don't want to try and figure it out for themselves, they enroll Hitomi into the local high school. Soon after, she joins the photography club after meeting some of its members. She then meets Yuito, an artist who draws pictures that she can somehow see in colour. What follows is clearly intended to be a story about self-growth, learning, about friendship, and what motivates people to do what they love. And for the most part, these themes are present and consistent throughout the anime. Where things start to stumble is in the development of these characters. Despite only being 13 episodes long, character development feels incredibly slow, and the characters don't really get much deeper than when you first meet them. This is a huge issue because the themes and ideas rely heavily on interesting characters, and these characters just don't get fleshed out enough to hook you in. Compounding these issues is the fact the story itself is almost painfully predictable. There aren't any surprises or twists that you couldn't predict way ahead of time. The plot itself is so boilerplate, which is a real shame because the rest of the show is absolutely fantastic. Another issue I noticed was the overuse of product placement and advertising. Hitomi frequently eats Pocky, uses them as a magic wand, and even pays for a bus ride using them. While the show doesn't capitalize on a lot of potential characterization, it still manages to have some genuinely emotional scenes. It also picks up quite a bit at the end, and the last few episodes are very strong. Overall, the plot isn't bad by any stretch of the imagination, it's just disappointing because it could have been so much more than what we got. Our main protagonist is Hitomi Tsukishiro. She's a teenage mage living in the year 2078. When she was younger, she started to lose her ability to see colours, until she eventually became colourblind. She also started growing distant from everyone in her life, including her friends and family. When she's sent back in time, she starts to finally open up to people and realize that it's alright to share your thoughts and feelings with others. Our next character is Kohaku, which is Hitomi's grandmother who sends her back in time. It turns out that as a teenager, she was an extreme troublemaker. She often causes property damage to the school while experimenting and developing new magic spells. Unlike Hitomi, Kohaku loves magic and takes every opportunity to use it, especially when using it will make others happy. Moving on, we have Yuito Aoi. He is a member of the photography and arts club. He loves to draw but is very introverted and does not like showing his art to others. He's also having trouble finding inspiration in what to draw as he feels he's not good enough to make a living out of it. The rest of the cast are also part of the photography cross arts club. While they do each get an episode where they develop a bit, they unfortunately don't get much time to actually feel unique or interesting, which is quite a shame. An odd thing I wanted to mention as well is nearly every character in the photography club is already portrayed as part of a pair or potential romantic relationship. While we don't actually see any romance blossom, this romantic pairing is consistently reinforced and doesn't really go anywhere. I don't know, I just found it strange. It's not an understatement to say that Iroduku's greatest strength is its art direction and colour scheme. Most of the background art used is incredibly impressive and has a high level of detail that you just don't see in average anime. It's clear that a lot of the budget and effort went into these backdrops and the results are often astounding. Unfortunately, the same can't be said for the characters in most scenes though. While there are moments where the characters receive a decent amount of love and detail, they are often comparatively lower quality than the backgrounds. This can often result in an overall style clashing as the characters stand out to a distracting degree. Another issue is the use of CGI to fill in moving details into the backgrounds. In other anime, it might be less noticeable, but when your backgrounds are this gorgeous, the CGI just ends up being a greater distraction to the scene. The colors used are often bright and varied, and the show uses them to properly live up to its name. Despite this good use of color, the show tends to over-rely on bloom effects in many scenes. I think this overuse of the effect was intended to result in a warmer image, but often I felt like it just made the scene blurry instead. The anime will also occasionally show the world from Hitomi's point of view, showing everything in black and white to reinforce how depressing everything looks to her. While this does work more often than not, there are moments where it can be pretty unclear whether she's actually seeing colors or not due to some sloppy editing. Even in the face of these flaws, Iroduku is still an often gorgeous anime, and honestly, if you're a fan of good art and backgrounds, I'd highly recommend it solely for that alone. The soundtrack for the show itself is serviceable for the most part. However, in the moment-to-moment scenes, I can't recall any particularly memorable melodies. The opening theme song for the show itself, however, is very good and has a passion and emotion to it that really goes well with the main themes of the show. Overall, Iroduku is an okay anime with some absolutely fantastic moments. Unfortunately, it didn't take advantage of the potential it had. As a result, I have to give Iroduku a C. While it's not a bad anime by any stretch of the imagination, it is only just serviceable. I would recommend this anime to anyone who loves very detailed background art. Thanks for watching the video, guys. I do hope you enjoyed it, and I'd be honored if you'd like the video and subscribe to our channel, as it really helps us out, and hopefully we see you all again in the next video. Bye bye!